As all of you know, man depends not only on plants but also on animals to satisfy his various needs. Man has developed the science of animal husbandry in order to cater to his needs. What are the uses of animals? Well, you might be aware of some of them. Just a quick look. Animals provide us with food like milk, meat, eggs, fish, etc. They help us in carrying out farm work that involves physical labor. Cow dung cakes are used as fuel since thousands of years. Cattle dung has also been traditionally used as a fuel. The biogas technology has recently been developed to meet the needs of fuel as well as fertilizer. Primitive man used animal skin as clothes to protect himself from the heat, cold and rain. Even today, skins of dead animals are used to make many useful articles such as purses, belts, footwear, garments, water skins, a horse's harness, etc. Bones of dead animals are used to make fertilizers known as bone meal. Bones of dead animals are also used to make needles, combs, and other ornamental articles. The substance separated from bones before making fertilizers is used to obtain glue or gelatin. Cords are made from the gut, that is, intestines of animals are used to stitch cuts made during surgery. They are also used for making the strings of string instruments. The hair from the manes and tails of pigs and camels are used for making paint brushes. The fat of certain animals is used as food or for making soap, candles, grease, and are also used in the garment industry. In olden days, pigeons were used to carry messages. Even today, animals are used to carry messages in certain special situations. So, by now we have covered the uses of animals. Most of them were already known to you. Now we shall move on to the next topic, animal husbandry. Just like man, food and shelter are the basic needs of animals too. Animal husbandry includes the arrangements made and means adopted to meet these needs of the animals. So, let us first learn something about the most important need of animals, that is, food. We all know food is the basic need of animals. Animals can't survive without food. Grass, straw, horse gram serves as the main food of cows, buffaloes and horses. However, these are fed with supplementary foods so that cows and buffaloes can give more milk and oxen and horses can do more work. Milch animals are given fermented fodder or silage or ambon every day. Ambon is a fermented mixture of oil cake, grain meal and jaggery. Fermentation increases the nutritive value of the feed. Milch animals are fed oil cake of cottonseed. Horses are given gram that has been soaked in water. Bullocks are also given ambon. These foods make the animal strong and robust. Animals used for their meat are also given supplementary food. Pigs are given rice, husks, bone meal, and leftovers from our food. Goats are given wheat, husks, corn, linseed oil cake. Feed for broilers are available commercially. Generally, animals need dry feed equal to 2 to 2.5% of their own body weight daily. This figure is high in the case of milch animals. Just like human beings, animals need enough clean water to drink along with food. They get various diseases if they drink contaminated water. Now let us move on to the next important need, that is, shelter. Besides getting food and water, animals must get suitable shelter also. Just providing a shelter is not going to meet their needs. The shelter should have the following arrangements for the animals to live there comfortably. Let us have a look. Cattle sheds should be on high ground, in a dry place, which will allow water to drain away easily. The area of the shed should be such as to allow animals tied there to move comfortably. The shed floor should be built up and tiled and should have a slope to allow flow of urine. Troughs, that is a kind of depression meant for feeding the animal, should be properly built. The roof should give them adequate protection from the sun and rain. Drinking water should be kept close to the shed. Now we shall learn a very important need, which is often neglected by the people, that is, health. Daily care of domestic animals is necessary to keep them in good health. Let us see the steps to be taken in order to maintain good health of the animals. The shed of the domestic animals should be kept clean. The floor should be regularly washed with germicides to prevent diseases and protect the animals from flies, fleas and gnats. Animals tend to get worms, so they should be dewormed regularly. Sheep are prone to get ticks and lice. Ticks are found on their necks, shoulders and around the anus. They cause wounds and suck blood. Often, maggots grow in these wounds. Maggot is a soft-bodied, legless larva, especially of a blowfly. Hence, it is important to protect sheep from ticks. Diseases like bird flu and ranikhet cannot be cured as medicines are not available for them. There is also no cure for dogs and other animals that get rabies. Hence, it is necessary to vaccinate animals properly to prevent such diseases. If you suspect that an animal is ill, it is better that you take it to a veterinary hospital for proper treatment. If the time is lost, you may lose the animal too. So by now, we have covered the uses of animals and their basic needs. Now, we shall learn about crossbreed strains of animals. Technology has made possible the crossbreeding of local species of animals with the new ones, thereby giving rise to hybrid species. We have already learnt about it in the second chapter, Biological Diversity. Hope all of you remember it. Let us know more about it. Technology has been developed for obtaining not only hybrid plants, but hybrid strains of animals too. The yield from such animals is greater. The profits are greater. Have a look at this example. An Indian cow yields 5 to 6 liters of milk every day. However, if she is crossed with a Jersey, Holstein or Red Dean bull, the yield from the offspring rises to 10 to 12 liters daily. Cows of the Kandhari, Devani, Khilari and Dangi varieties of Maharashtra, let us study the occupations complementary to agriculture. We keep cows and buffaloes for their milk. We keep bullocks, horses, asses and oxen for doing heavy physical labor. Bullocks, horses and camels are used for transport. Besides these, we find other animals useful in several other ways too. As these animals feed mostly on plants, animal husbandry has become a complementary business to farming. It includes keeping sheep, poultry and pigs. There are other animal-based occupations which include sericulture, pearl farming, pisciculture and obtaining lac. Now we shall study about these complementary occupations which help to enhance income. So here we start with the first one. Sheep rearing. A farmer can easily keep sheep as he does not have to incur any expenditure to feed them. Sheep can live on boar and babul trees and shrubs that grow wild. They also eat stubble, that is, the stalks of cereal plants, waste of jowar, groundnuts, horse gram, etc. In spite of the fact that sheep rearing hardly requires any expenses, it can prove quite profitable. Not only do sheep give wool, meat and skins, but even their droppings give good manure to the fields. Our Indian sheep gives 1.5 kilograms of wool and 10 to 12 kilograms of meat. The farmer can sell these for a profit. The proportion of nitrogen, phosphorus and potash is too high in the excreta of sheep than in that of other animals. Now coming to poultry farming. Poultry is kept for both meat and eggs. Different birds are kept for each of these purposes. Hens kept for laying eggs are called layers, while those kept for meat are called broilers. Hens that will eat less and lay more eggs are selected as layers. Since no Indian variety of hens meets this requirement, a foreign variety called the white leghorn is used for this purpose. Each hen needs 125 grams of nourishing diet every day and lays 200 to 250 eggs in a year. An egg meant for eating is not a fertilized egg, so there is no possibility of obtaining a chick from it. Such eggs are called table eggs. Birds kept for meat must obviously have more flesh. They are fed more so that they gain more weight in their fleshy parts. The varieties preferred for this are the Rhode Island Red and the White Leghorn. In a period of 8 to 10 weeks, their weight becomes 1,300 to 1,500 grams. These birds are preferred for eating. Now let us study about the pearl culture. The other occupation complementary to agriculture is pearl culture. Since ancient times, pearls have been considered important. As pearls are used for making ornaments, decorative articles and embroidery, they are in great demand. This has given rise to the pearl industry. Pearls are obtained from a marine animal called oyster. Previously, man depended entirely on nature to obtain pearls. Now, a technique of inserting grains of sand inside the oyster's body at the right time has been developed. As a result, large number of pearls can be obtained on a commercial scale. Such pearls are called cultured pearls. Thus, we can see that cultured pearls are not artificial pearls manufactured in a factory. Now we shall move on to the next topic, the lac industry. You may be familiar with the sealing wax used in offices to seal envelopes. This material is called lac. It is also used for making a variety of beads and costume jewelry. The attractive red-colored lac is a material secreted by the lac insect. These insects live on cacti or on the flame of the forest tree, palas tree. Lac is produced only in India. It is produced because of its commercial value. Coming to sericulture. Sericulture is the rearing of silkworm to obtain high-quality silk fiber that they yield. Sericulture is a profitable business. Silkworms are of several varieties. Of these, the silkworm that lives on the mulberry leaves is very important as it yields a very fine variety of silk. Also, the silkworm that eat ayan leaves are the important varieties as they yield a silk called tussar silk, which is very strong. The life cycle of the silkworm is similar to that of the mosquito. The 4 stages of its life cycle are egg, larva, pupa and imago, that is, adult moth. The silkworms need the leaves to eat in the larva stage. The salivary gland that opens into the mouth of the mature larva secretes a sticky substance. The reaction of this substance with the air changes into thread. The larva winds this thread around itself to form a cocoon. The cocoons are boiled in water to obtain silk yarn. Now we shall move on to the last topic of this chapter, which talks about pisciculture. Down the ages, man has been eating both freshwater and sea fish. Earlier, man only caught the fish that were available in nature. Now, the desired variety of fish are grown from their seeds in the sea or in other water bodies and are used for eating. The government makes good quality fish seed or spawn available for the purpose. Fish are included in seafoods. Some freshwater fishes are katla, rohu, mrigal and carp, while some other fishes are boi, that is mullet fish, murdushi, renavi,